I feel like I should be drinking my water here with my pinky out when you say quip. You know, I just
Yeah.
I'm
Yes.
having a fine. Why can't I do it?
Your man was
I'm
like,
having a fine.
Your pinky finger has an erection.
Yeah.
Was I doing that? I can't.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Make It podcast. I'm your host, Chris Barkley.
hello. See, I went down and up. You went hello. I just went the other way.
Yeah.
And I'm Nick Bugs.
I wonder if we did that simultaneously, would it be harmony? Can we try it, please?
Go for it, man.
Okay, it's on the count of three. Actually, Papa Bear, count us in. 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
Hello. Oh, you went too slow.
Oh no, I think it was good. I thought it was good, Sam.
Were we in harmony, Sam? We were off time, right?
It was close. It was close. I think if you did it again.
Okay, all right.
With some practice.
Okay, Papa Bear, give us another
let's go.
count.
Yeah, and we're going fast. All right, let's go.
Just go in right on 3, Nick.
Okay, I'm going right on 3. Let's go.
All right.
1, 2, 3.
Hello.
That was good. That
Okay.
was good.
All right.
Okay.
I felt like
Definitely
I jumped the gun a little bit, but
Yeah.
you know, because Chris said go right on 3, and then he hesitated. But it's fine. It's all good. I think we sounded good though.
It's always good to have room to improve. You
This
know what I
has
mean?
this has the
right.
potential to devolve into an Costello routine.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
This is not good. I think we're going to leave it there. Good job, Nick. I'm proud of you.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Well done.
I like that.
We were quite harmonious.
It is true that I have this podcast with you, and the only reason you're on this podcast is because you have that great radio voice.
Yeah, that's what
Otherwise,
I hear,
you'd be fired.
especially with the the YouTube thing. Everybody always says I got a face for radio, so you know.
Your voice is. I will be honest. Your voice is at least twice as good as mine for this medium. At least twice. As good. Congratulations!
I appreciate you. Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I've said that before, but I just want this audience to know how I really feel. By the way, we're not alone. We are joined by the one and only intern Sam and producer Papa Bear. Guys, say hello.
Hello.
And what you'll hear throughout this conversation, based on my research, we are also joined by the peripatetic and esteemed Adam Tex Davis. He's done it all. Adam, say hello.
Hey, what's up, guys? How's everybody doing?
Yes. Welcome. We're doing great. And just for the audience's sake, for the remainder of this conversation, we're probably going to call you Tex.
Sure.
But,
I'll answer to that.
But should write down a list of the words I'll answer to.
Right. I was going to say, hey, you. Chris, hey, you, Barkley.
I tried that, man. I tried that when I was younger. I did. So in first grade, right, I have a very common name. Everybody has the name Chris. It's not awesome. I mean, it's a good name. Never met a Chris I didn't like, but everybody has it. So I said, I want to differentiate. Now, this is in first grade. I'm already thinking like this. And I have 2 middle names. One of them is Dante, like the writer Dante, Dante. And I said, I'm going to go by Dante this year. And I kept telling everybody, hey, I'm Dante. I'm Dante. And then when people would call me that, I wouldn't turn around.
Yeah, you got to be in on it. You got to be on it.
I forgot that was my name. So it didn't stick.
It happens to me all the time because I'm Charles Samuel. So every time I go to like doctor, school, anything, it's Charles. And every time I just have no clue what's going on. Like I sit there and I wait until they get to the S's and then it never gets called. And they're like, I guess Charles is not here.
Oh no. Charles said it already. He didn't even show up on the first day of school.
Exactly.
You know, that's cool though. You have like a spam filter built in. If anybody calls you Charles, you know they don't really know you.
Nice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I was just telling Nick or Papa Bear earlier this week that you have the perfect name. Like you don't have to change your name. Like Sam Frank is a really good filmmaker name.
It's a firsty lasty. Yeah.
Yeah. Directed by Sam Frank.
I like that.
Yeah, that's good.
And,
Don't
and
change.
Sam has 3 first names. It's really cool.
It's Charles.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah. I love it.
You should write your name with commas.
Two
Just
different
pick one.
people.
Yeah, just pick one.
Man,
Just pick one.
Frank. All right. So let's get back to our guest,
do it.
Tex Davis here. Tex, can you tell us a little bit more about you? Title, what we might know you for, all the many things we might know you for, and what you're working on now.
Sure. Well, let's see. I'm probably most known as a screenwriter. I wrote the movie Just Friends that stars Ryan Reynolds and Anna Faris and Amy Smart and Chris Klein. And the good thing about that is if you write a movie that takes place during Christmas, they play it every Christmas. And so here, that movie came out, 20 plus years ago, but it was on E! Channel this Christmas. So I get calls and stuff all the time like, hey, your movie's on. So that's always good. That's probably my most famous thing. But then I've done, I did some TV as well. So I helped co-create a show called Brain Games that was on National Geographic Channel. Did about 5 or 6 seasons of that. We got an Emmy nomination for that. So my business partner, we started our company, Atomic Entertainment, based off of the success of Brain Games. We did another show called Brainchild for Netflix. Pharrell Williams was an executive producer on it with us. Great story. He walked into our agent's office and he said, hey, I watched this show with my son called Brain Games. I'd love to do that for kids. And our agent was like, well, we rep the Brain Games guys and they want to do a kids version too. So next thing I know, I'm in a hotel room with Pharrell and he's just like, before we do anything, I just want you guys to know you guys are geniuses and you tell me how I can help you. So,
Wow.
We love that guy.
Yeah.
So we did a season of that for Netflix, and then pandemic hit, so we couldn't shoot anything, we couldn't pitch anything, so we grabbed microphones and we started podcasting. And the first thing we did was a kids educational show, like piggybacking on the success of Brainchild, and it's called Who Smarted, and it's a kids educational show, 15-minute episodes on all different topics and stuff, and it blew up. We were going to do it during the pandemic, and then it became one of the top kids educational shows in the world. So it's like a top 10, top 15 in the entire world. So we keep doing that. But then I got into other, we wanted to do some adult stuff as well. So I've got a true crime show that I do with my wife and my business partner. It's about murders and mysterious deaths that happen on vacation. It's called Slaycation. And then, we just launched an Oscars-based podcast, and it's me and the legendary Bruce Valanche, who wrote the Oscars for 25 years. He actually just did a Reddit Ask Me Anything today on the Oscars subreddit. And he's just, a legend. And we look at the Oscars of the past through sort of the lens of today and what stood the test of time. And we debate what they got right, what they got wrong, and the snubs and the flubs and the oversights and all that. So that's called the Oscars. What were they thinking? As in, what were they thinking? What the
Right. So why didn't you just call it the Oscars? What the
Yeah.
That's the website, dude. The website is oscars.wtf.
There you go.
Yeah.
See?
I love that.
Yeah, there's a WTF website, like .wtf is an existing, you can have that as a website, and most businesses run from that, but we love it. So Oscars WTF, yeah, and Slaycation.wtf if you want to.
I'm going to write that down.
Hey, man, but I'm waiting for the
WTF.
I'm waiting for the Skinemax B movie called Slaycation.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that has to happen, bro. Like, that is...
It's called White Lotus.
Exactly. Oh, I'm mad at you. Hey, when you make it, though, I want the VHS, bro. Like, you got to get me a signed VHS of the Skinemax version of Slaycation.
All right. I'm glad you still have a VCR.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Starring Shannon Tweed.
Right. Of course I have a VCR. How am I going to play
Did I
Bubba
age
Butt?
myself? I probably did.
No, man, I got a VCR, I got a DVD player, Blu-ray player, I got Atari 6400 and Atari 7200. Like, you got to keep these things, man. You can't get rid of them.
You know what I have? I have the Retro Pi. So I built this...
The gaming.
The gaming Pi, and it has like 13,000 games. And I did it. I said 13,000 games, too many games. You can't decide what game to play.
Yeah.
Centipede.
So that's the very first thing I found out is, well, you want to.
Yeah, that's
then
the
there's
game. You gotta play
you
that.
find out there's a Centipede that was made for us. There was a Centipede made for South Korea. There's a Centipede made for Japan. Then there's a Centipede 2. There's a Centipede 3. There's a Centipede starring Charles Barkley. There's like all these weird versions, and you have them all. and you really don't know what to pick. And it turns out I've just been playing Kung Fu, which was my favorite game as a kid. I used to play it in the bowling alley as a kid while my parents bowled. And that was the game me and my sister would play. Now there's lots of Kung Fus. Yeah. So you got to find the right Kung Fu, the one with the chain and the fan. And
that one, that's the original. And I'm surprised that more people didn't break the controller playing Kung Fu. It is the most left to right, like hard, you just hard smack it left to right, hard. And then mash the button as much as you can. Every other game after that became smooth, right? You can do in a Hadouken, bro. You're going to smooth quarter circle that sucker, right? But no, man, not Kung Fu. That was a classic.
It really was. And I'm not good at video games. So that's like a little secret about me, is like, I'm terrible at them. I'm just bad at them. But that game, I've never seen anybody beat it. So I went online to find somebody that could beat it. There's a guy who has a YouTube channel. I wish I could find his name. Maybe I'll find him and put it in the show notes. He goes through and plays it over and over and over. He gets to a place and he cannot beat it. Like, because you don't get endless men. So if someone's beaten Kung Fu, please put it in the comments, reach out to me, contact@bonsai.film. Tell me your wizardry, tell me your magic, tell me how you did it. Tex, I don't know where to start with you because you have so many places we could begin, whether it be you falling in love with film because of the movie Jaws. That Pharrell Williams story was interesting because, first of all, it's just great to hear that he's actually a nice guy in real life.
Oh, yeah, he's a great guy.
But the second thing is, I'm old enough to remember Pharrell from the very beginning and how his image has really morphed to the public eye over time into something so different than his original vibe as an artist. And I wonder what that's all about. I wonder how he was able to pull it off. So many artists try to do this and just can't quite pull it off. You know,
there's a reason for that. I mean, he made the song Happy.
Yep. Oh,
and, for a kids movie, and it became one of the biggest songs of all time, and that changed his whole vibe. But also becoming a father.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Look, even with my Brain Game show, when we started, I mean, it's a show for adults on Nat Geo, on the National Geographic Channel, and now it's on Disney Plus. But the point is, it was for adults, but I would show little pieces of the show, little clips, and because it shows how your brain works, optical illusions. We use magic. We do experiments. I would show bits to my daughter, who was like 7 or 8 at the time, and she loved them. And then she wanted to hear the explainers. She was really into it. And I realized, oh shit, like we're making this adult show, but kids might like this. So we changed even the way we made the show. I was working on an episode called Sex on the Brain, and I was just like, nah, I'm not going to do that. I just turned it into the attraction episode because I knew, like, I didn't want my daughter learning about sex from daddy's science show,
Right.
So,
whoops.
Yeah, that'll do it. So, like, between kids and the success of Happy, he totally changed his whole vibe and got more family friendly and stuff like that. Although, Blurred Lines was still pretty,
it was good. But look, you said that Brain Games was for adults, and I think that because the platform in Nat Geo was just an adult channel, but I watched Brain Games with my kids, like when they were super little. Yeah, it was for me, but I was really doing it with them.
Yeah.
So even though, I love learning about those things and, watching the optical illusions and all that was really cool. But I felt like it was just a great experience for me and the kids, and we could learn together. So I kind of felt like it was for everybody, but you're right. It is an adult kind of channel, right? I think the more people are, what's the age range again for Nat Geo?
That was the thing. When we, the average age of a Nat Geo watcher was like 67.
It's got to be pretty old. Yeah.
The average.
But 67, bro, average. Like,
average. Yeah. You gotta have some old ass people. Right. Average to be 60. But then
what does that say about our young people, Tex?
Well, I'd say this. When Brain Games aired, the average age dropped down to like the mid to high 30s.
Oh, no.
So we knew, like a ton of like families and kids and everybody was watching that. And when I say like, it was for like, this is like, as we were shaping the episodes before it actually aired. And then before we ever put an episode out, we said, no, let's make sure it's for family. It's not just for adults. And the channel would sometimes push back. They weren't psyched about it. They were like, no, our audience is older and they, but we're like, they're going to like it. Everybody's brain gets fooled by these things. Trust me, trust us, and it worked out. It worked out well.
Yeah. I think the difference is that it works for everybody. And I think you were successful getting them to agree to what you wanted to do because you didn't over colorize it. So what I mean by that is like, you didn't have all your primary colors in every episode and people were walking around with, there weren't a bunch of little characters and, Muppets and puppets and things like that. But the delivery of it could really hit any age group, which was what was so nice about it. So the kids and I think we all enjoyed it. I never heard any complaints, right? And that's the big deal for me because when I say that we're going to sit down and watch something educational, the kids are like, "Oh, Dad, really?" I'm like, "Well, okay, it's educational, but it's fun." Yeah. And then they're sitting there kind of like waiting, like, "Is it really going to be fun?"
Yeah, where's the fun
we
coming?
End up watching episode after episode after episode. So you did a good job, man.
Thanks, man. Well, I'll tell you, we did learn that. Like, you don't talk down to your audience, even if it's for kids. Like, if you check out our Who Smarted podcast, it's for kids, 6 to 10, but adults can learn from it too. But we don't talk down to them. We put in jokes that even only the parents might get, or, whatever. But like, don't talk down to the kids. Just treat them. Don't use big words that they're not going to understand. Or if you use a big word, like, explain what it means. But don't talk down and don't put on that childish voice and have lots of annoying things that drives the adults bonkers. Like, stay away from that.
Nice.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, we kind of take the same policy with this show. Anyone that engages with us, anyone that leaves a comment, even if it's kind of a nasty comment or just something that didn't even make sense, we never respond negatively to any comment. We literally like it, and we find a way to just talk back and have the conversation, like, because they're coming from some perspective. And it's like, can we get to that? I think the only ones we actually don't really respond to are ones that are selling Bitcoin. These weird Bitcoin comments, but even them, we still like them and just saying, wrong thread, bro. Right. Like, we're not doing anything there. But with Just Friends, really sort of launching you into, escape velocity here a little bit. Movie did 51 million box office on a less than $10 million budget. If I have any of these numbers wrong, please jump in and correct me.
Yeah, I like those numbers. Those are good. Those
sounds good. Let's go with that.
My sense of it is that at this point you've been asked everything there maybe you could be asked about the movie, and I just wonder: is there a Ryan Reynolds story? Is there an Amy Smart story? Is there an alternate ending, Just Friends story that you haven't been able to tell because no one's asked the question?
Right. I will say this. This is a story. I don't tell this story very often, if at all. And this is like the pain of being the writer. I mean, you're going to have to give up control. That, like, it's sold. It's not yours anymore. There's a director. There's actors. There's, it's collaborative. My goal was always to befriend the director and have them want me to be part of it. Have me on set and not just dismissed and like, oh God, the writer's here. Put him in a quick cameo and then get him the hell out of here. Like, usually that's the writer's journey. With me, I worked with the director for a couple of weeks before we even had everything set up. Then when we knew we had Ryan, we did another pass, like trying to, add stuff that we thought he would have fun with. But then there was an ending that was different than what's in the movie. And the ending that's in the movie, the reason why it's different is because there was an incident with an actor who was in the movie who, we shot it in Canada, and he got in some trouble back here in the States. And we were able to sneak him back into Canada to shoot him out, but they needed him back. And so we didn't have enough time to really do a couple of scenes that were supposed to be in the movie. And basically, they came to me and they said, we need to write him out of the movie in this scene, which is like 2 scenes prior to where he was supposed to leave the movie. And it's like, oh, so now there's going to be this Frankenstein scene that's different. So I'm trying to wrap my head around it. And the director comes up to me, Roger Cumble, and he's just like, hey, I workshopped this scene with the actors. let's just put it on for you. And they do the scene, and I'm like, oh, that's different. I don't know. That's a lot. And it does like I have a pet peeve in movies where a character's playing everything masterfully, and then they slip up and they say the thing that they shouldn't. And they go, oops. Like, the whole movie, they've been doing everything perfectly, and now they suddenly say something stupid and it blows the whole cover. And I was like, I'd love to not do that. And I'm trying to figure it out. And I run off set and I'm like working, and I have something that I think could work. And when I go back on set, door is locked, and the PA is standing in front of it with his arms crossed. He's like, they told me not to let you back.
Oh my gosh, bro.
Yeah. So I was just like, what? I pound on the door, and they're like, go away. And I'm like, mother. And I'm like, God damn it. And then out of spite, I ran over to the craft service table and I just ate everything there. I ate every fucking snack. I was like, these guys going to want a Slim Jim or a fucking M&M? There's not going to be a fucking thing left. It's just...
and if you couldn't eat it, he licked it. You know what I'm saying? Like, screw you guys.
Exactly. Put it on my armpit. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I was so pissed, but I was just like, I get it. And the director came up to me after. He's like, look, I'm so sorry. Look, this sucks. The studio forced this on us. I was going to have a mutiny, and I could have an actor mutiny on my hands. They came up with stuff. Look, it's not the worst thing in the world, but it is like I do watch the movie, and there's this weird scene where a lot of stuff happens, and it's just it's not my favorite.
Is it cringe? That's what happens every time you're like,
That a similar situation, not at that scale, obviously, happened to me, and it's really what took me out of journalism formerly, which was that I was asked to write a really personal piece. That was going to be not a non, if you're in journalism, a lot of times you're just writing copy, right? Yep. The cat stuck in the tree, and you just tell the inverted triangle, and you just tell the story of what happened with the cat in the tree.
Not if you're text, but we'll get to that later.
Exactly. and so I was getting to write this actual piece where I got to show off some of my writing prowess, and I turned it in, and they changed it dramatically. The editors did. And published it. And, I still had to answer for what was written to the people I was writing about and just to everybody around. I was like, is that what really? And it was like my name on the byline. And I just was like so disenchanted with that whole idea. And I knew that if I went and worked for even a bigger paper, then that would be that situation on steroids. And so the thing I empathize with you the most on is the fact that people look to you, like you said at the top of the conversation, they call you every Christmas and they're like, hey, your movie's on. And every year you say, yeah, it's not exactly what I wrote though.
Well, here's the thing. It's never going to be exactly what you wrote.
True.
That's the thing. And I know that going in. This was particularly painful because we had it. We were going to shoot the movie, the script, everything was set. And then this bizarro thing. Put it this way. This poor actor, I feel terrible for him. When he got to set, he was engaged to be married to a famous actress. And I could name names. It's like one of those things like
you don't have to.
Okay. So he was engaged to marry this actress. And then by the time the movie was coming to a close, she had not only left him, but had gotten engaged to another huge movie star.
Oh, the bigger, better deal.
Yeah,
within the time frame that the movie was being made, bro.
How do you like that, Nick?
Come on,
you enjoy that, Nick?
That's gotta hurt.
Yeah. And then when he went back to the States during a layoff, when we didn't need him for a little bit, he got drunk. He got into a DUI situation. So things were bad. He had to go to court. And then we were, like I said, we were able to sneak him back in, and they were like, we got to write him out of the movie quick. And so, that's a very unusual situation. That is not the norm. Look, whatever, you know what? It sucked the scene, but it gave me a fun story. So, you take what you can get no matter what. And
it wasn't the end for you. You got to go on and do
exactly.
No, it was a fun story, things. And a good paycheck, You know what I'm saying? Like that's one of those that hopefully is the everlasting gobstopper, right? Because like you said, it continues to get played. So as long as it's playing,
yeah, exactly. And speaking of gobstops, yeah, I ate those too. Those were at the snack.
Really? Those were at the crafty table?
No,
Okay. I was going to say. Okay.
No, he was sucking on them, spitting them back in the box, you know? Why are these so sticky?
Enjoy. They're delicious. Believe me, they're delicious.
Why are you so sticky? It's just the wildest question you could ever really ask anybody.
Chris, you know about the ass pennies.
Oh, yeah, ass pennies.
By
the way, shout out to the audience who always keeps us correct, because on the episode I said that ass pennies was a skit by Kids in the Hall, and it was actually a skit by the Upright Citizens Brigade. And our audience was like, bro, you're an idiot. It wasn't Kids in the Hall. I'm like, dude, it was 5 white dudes, both of them at the exact same time. Come on, give me a break. No,
right.
That was racist.
Was it new? Wait, but was it the Backstreet Boys, or was it NSYNC?
98 degrees.
98 degrees.
98 degrees. Shout out to Nick Lachey.
That's right.
Yeah. So yeah, I had it wrong, but yes, sticky. You're right. Now here's the thing. Before we do audience polls, I just have to ask Tex. You've written so many things. You developed so many projects. Right now, I get a sense, and Sam, jump in and correct me if you feel like I'm wrong about this. You know, you're actively in film school.
My condolences.
I get the sense that independent screenwriters are sort of slapping each other's knuckles with a ruler about structure and about how you're really supposed to write and put this stuff together in order to sell and pitch it. What's your opinion on how to sort of put the words on the page and the importance of that when it comes to sort of pitching your project and selling it and getting it greenlit?
Was this for me or intern Sam?
For you. Okay. I just wanted Sam to jump in if I was saying anything that didn't jive with him, wasn't accurate.
Well, it's funny. I went to NYU film school, which, supposedly one of the biggest, best, film schools in the country. And it was great because I was able to meet great people, and I was able to get my hands on a lot of equipment, and I was able to get out into the field and shoot a lot of stuff. I got to direct a short film that actually started my career. And I got to work with, a lot of great people. And I learned every job. I was not afraid to learn camera work. I shot a couple of features as a DP. I did lighting. I was a dolly grip on rap videos to support myself while I was writing. But the point is, nice. I did take screenwriting classes, and all it was about the structure and about where you need to be on the, page 24 and page 55 and all that stuff. It didn't really mean a lot to me until I started really just writing. And then you realize, I've got this big shapeless beast of a script that's way too long or whatever. Okay, how do I get it to then fit into the parameters? But here's the thing. A lot of the guys who write these books on like structure and like a Robert McKee story, guess what? They never sold a script. They'll turn in scripts that are beautifully structured, but stories are whatever, nobody wanted to buy them. So the story comes first, the structure and getting the words down, that comes with practice, and you get better at it. The more you write and the more you rewrite, the better you'll get at the structure. But the real thing is the story, the characters, and most important, your voice. Like, why you telling this story? Like,
Oh yeah,
why you?
Is one of our whys.
Yeah, yep. I tell people all the time, like if you and 4 friends go out and something crazy happens that night, if you're not the one everybody turns to tell the story the next day to somebody who wasn't there, maybe you're not the storyteller in the group. So
that's a great point. That's a great point, because everybody has. I hear this a lot from comedians. When you ask a comedian who's the funniest person you ever met, they're like, famous or not famous.
Yep. Yep.
And the funniest person they know is somebody you've never heard of. That
or a relative.
Relative.
Uncle Reggie.
Yeah, it's your Uncle Reggie's the funniest person. Uncle Reggie didn't have a business sense, wasn't entrepreneurial, and had a drinking problem. But outside of that, he was the funniest person you ever freaking met. And yeah, I think that's so accurate, Tex. Like, I've said this before, Richard Feynman, number 1 rule, we must not fool ourselves, and we are the easiest ones to fool. Nick, before we go to intern Sam for audience polls, it's been a while. Can you just remind this audience what our whys are? 4 whys.
Oh, the whys. Yeah. So Tex, you're talking about that one, like that first one, that why you. We always stress that with everybody, screenwriter, otherwise, filmmaker trying to pitch something. It's like, one of the first things people want to know is like, yeah, like why you? Like, why do you have to tell this story? And then we always ask the question of like why now? Right? Like, so you're telling this and you're pitching it to us. Well, why now? Why does anyone want to see this right now? And then of course we always ask, well, why me? I think that's the other part of it. It's like, and I think that's one of the cool things
from an investor standpoint.
Yeah. What Tex brought up, and I think actually you mentioned this before, it's like when he pitched Just Friends, the why me actually came through in the story. So a lot of times you'll pitch it like to Nat Geo. So why would you pitch this to Nat Geo? Because Nat Geo does educational content, right? So that's one. But with Just Friends, what was cool about the baked in why me was I've heard you say, Tex, so many times that people would read that story and be like, did you write this about me? Right? I think the why me in that case was the universality of it.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that was like that. So you got the why you, right? Why now? Why me? And I think what's the last one, Chris?
The last one is why this story?
Exactly.
So why this story?
Yeah. So because the why you is the part that is, where do you find yourself in the story you're telling? And
are you the right one to tell it? Exactly.
Exactly. So what I want to do real quick is just go back a little bit to what I think we were talking about earlier about finding yourself in the story, and then also maybe, I don't know, journalistic integrity and what we do with things that we find. So Tex, I'm gonna let you tell it, but Chris, I want you to know that you've got a kindred spirit here. So what Chris used to do when he was songwriting was he would actually go out and find, you grab a paper. That was a thing back in the day. These things called newspapers, magazines, that they were like tactile things you could touch. But Chris would open them up and he would see these headlines and he would see the headline and say, well, how can I write a song about that? He would write a song based off of the headline. Now, Tex, from your journalistic experience, why don't you share how you would leverage your journalistic skills to tell a story?
That's a great setup, man. I appreciate that. So here's the thing. I loved writing since I was a kid, like, 7th and 8th grade. I actually won a writing contest 2 years in a row, like a statewide thing with short fiction. Then I was like, I love Stephen King. I thought about being a novelist, but then it was like, wow, that's pretty daunting. And then I set my sights on journalism. And my high school actually had a great school paper. And what's funny is I went to Bergenfield High School in Bergenfield, New Jersey. Bob Guccione actually went there, and he was the owner of Penthouse, and the newspaper, we were the Bergenfield Bears, so it was called Bear Facts. But I thought for a second, because Bob Guccione went there, it was BARE. And then
makes sense.
Yeah, and then my mom was like, "No, you moron! It's BE. It's the animal." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So anyway,
she was like, "Don't get your hopes up, bro."
I was like, "Where's the centerfold of the paper?" Anyway,
right.
But I was like, okay. So I'm a journalist on the paper. The first story I ever had to write was like on the JV girls basketball team, and I was like so terrified. I'm interviewing the coach, and my pen wouldn't work, and I'm freaking out. And he's like, "It's okay," and I'm like nervous, and I'm like, thinking back on it now, what an idiot I was. But the point is, I worked my way up to becoming managing editor of the paper. And, great. I'm learning, I'm doing, stories, local stories. But then I was like, I need something bigger. And my brother actually was playing hockey. He was a couple years younger than me, and he got recruited to play for a Catholic hockey school, Catholic high school. And they recruited him, and they paid some of his tuition. All of this is illegal. You're not supposed to do that, because the parochial schools will play regular public schools and beat the shit out of them, because they're an all-star team of people taken from all over the place. So I'm like, oh, I've got an expose. So I start interviewing and trying to, get pieces, and it's coming together, but it's not great. So I start interviewing myself as an unnamed source. I start making up some details. I start juicing the story, making it better, coming up with both sides, angling each, and
young Stephen Glass.
It was great. It was great. I turned the story in. The journalist, my teacher and our sponsor of the paper, he loved it. Right on the front page or whatever. I think nothing of it until I get a call. Hey, are you sitting down? Because your story just got a silver medal for nationwide you have to go to Columbia University, get the silver medal for sports story journal. And I was like, oh my God. And I'm like, there's a lot of bullshit in this story, and nobody knows it but me. And I'm like, you know what? At that moment, I was like, I have enough journalistic integrity to know that I don't have any journalistic integrity, and maybe this isn't for me. So I said, how can I parlay this, we'll call it a skill, of taking something real, but embellishing the shit out of it, making it better, and making it something that people like. So that became my approach to writing, especially screenplays, is what I call bad journalism. I take a kernel of truth, and then I embellish it and make it funnier, better. Everybody gets to say the cool things or the funny things. And even Just Friends was based on me being in the friend zone for 2 years with a girl in college. And then I just, I Hollywooded it up a little bit, obviously. And then when we got Ryan Reynolds, like I had to change it drastically and turn him basically into me in the beginning in the fat suit and have him unable to get the girl. And, we came up with, how, the story that's in the movie. But it's all based on kernels of truth, but the bad journalism version of that. So.
Tex, he just guys, look, wow. When he drops stuff like that, it just, of course, my mind starts going. I'm like, wait. So you're telling me that Tex invented popcorn writing? Stay with me now. You take a kernel of truth, you heat it up a little bit.
Heat it up.
You make it consumable. For the movie theater.
For the theater.
There you go.
Come on now.
Where are you 19 to 24-year-olds?
You know what I'm saying? Popcorn writing, bro. Come on.
You're going to live forever.
All I want to know is the Pope still looking for you?
Yeah, actually the movie Conclave is about Texas. If you haven't seen it, I just spoiled that for you. Sorry. They catch him in the end. No, I'm just kidding. That's an amazing story, man. That is so crazy, and it's almost Curb Your Enthusiasm worthy in a way,
right?
Where it's like, of course your paper wins. Yeah. And for those the uninitiated, for those who don't know in the audience, like Columbia University is like the preeminent journalistic college. It's the college I wanted to go to for journalism, for example. And one of the reasons why I went into the journalism program at Middle Tennessee when I went is because they were basically an accredited they are an accredited university and were teaching Columbia's curriculum. So you basically got Columbia University education, but you didn't get the network. Turns out that's what college is for, the network.
The network.
So I don't know how much value I got out of that, but that's awesome. Okay, Sam, can we turn to you for a couple of audience polls?
I think we can. I'm ready. I have 2 polls here today. Now, I haven't done this in a while. So did the chocolate studs back in the day.
No comment.
Okay. Caught me off guard.
Yeah, always throwing Sam off his game. He's like, oh crap. I don't even know what to do with that.
Sam goes red.
Right.
Okay.
All right.
So I haven't done this in a while.
Okay.
I have 2 polls. One, film related. The other, not film related.
Okay, fair warning.
Where do we want to start? I'm going to leave this up to you, Tex. I think it's only fair.
Let's start with the film related.
Cool. Awesome.
Film related for 2, Alex.
2 polls, 1 cup.
He took me back. That was probably on VHS. Sam knows nothing about that.
It's in VCR as we speak.
Found that in my dad's bed.
You're right. Go, Sam. Hit it.
All right, what do you got?
All right. So on the topic of Just Friends, which rom-com is the best? Now, I didn't include Just Friends because I knew, we'd have some bias. So I came up with 4 original polls, or 4 original answers rather for this poll. So coming in at number 1, When Harry Met Sally, 58%. Classic. Made sense to me.
As compared to, let's see.
Number 2, 500 Days of Summer, 23%. Number 3, Punch Drunk Love, 12%.
Wow.
And number 4, dead last, bit of a travesty, Lost in Translation, 8%.
Is Lost in Translation a rom-com?
According to Letterboxd and Google, it is a rom-com.
It is, but I feel like it's like so indie. Because that's the other part about rom-coms. Unless you're watching Hallmark, I feel like rom-coms always have to have the certain types of people in them for them to be embedded in the zeitgeist.
Like Katherine Heigl,
like Bill Murray,
right?
Yeah, I don't consider that a rom-com, to be honest, because you're not rooting for them to be together,
right?
Like if they're together, you're like, ugh, like
that's why I was saying that.
It's a friendship, it's great, but yeah, I wouldn't root for that. Are you asking what my favorite is?
Sure, we would love to know that. We weren't necessarily asking it directly, right. But I would love to know your favorite of the four.
Well, of the four, it's funny that Love Actually is not in there, because that's actually a great one.
That's the greatest to me.
Well, I think maybe that was just too easy, because I thought about that too, but like, wouldn't that get like 78% of the vote?
Yeah, it'd get like 99% of the vote, and the poll's over.
What was the number one again?
When Harry Met Sally.
Okay, so When Harry Met Sally is a great one to have as your number one. It was a big influence in early drafts of writing Just Friends. In fact, there was a point where it was probably more like Harry Met Sally than not like Harry Met Sally. And then we realized, let's really try to dial up the comedy and the absurdity and do stuff that that's a different audience. And, look, I remember having a conversation with Roger Cumble, the director of Just Friends. And at one point, he was pushing it a little too far, I thought. I mean, look, we were a good team. He would tell me, you're the only one who's who I trust comedy wise, on set, other than say Ryan and Anna Faris and stuff. But the producers and the executives and everybody coming in with ideas and they were all terrible. So he would be like, I trust you. You tell me. And then we would sometimes have a debate over whether something was pushing too far, like the scene where Anna Faris is eating the toothpaste and stuff. And I was like, I think it was as pushed as far as it should have been. Any further would it be a little too much, and it got a little gross and stuff. And I remember saying like, okay, but do you think this is too much? And he's like, look, 13-year-olds are going to love this. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, but what 13-year-olds know about the friend zone? He goes, I don't care. He goes, 13-year-olds know how to ask their parents for money to go to the movies.
Right.
There you go. And I was 24-year-olds again.
That's a great statement.
Okay, all right, I get it, but I don't love it, but I get it. But yeah, Harry Met Sally originally that's kind of where we were looking for, and then we decided, let's go further. I like comedy with romance as opposed to the romance with a little bit of comedy. So my favorite of all is probably Something About Mary.
Yeah, Something About Mary. So I wonder, Sam, if tomorrow, when we're together working, we can do a round 2 of this with Something About Mary, Hitch, Love Actually, and throw out a rom-com that fits into that and just see what wins. We could even put Just Friends in there and just see.
No.
Yep.
Yeah.
No,
but of the ones you selected, Sam, which, it's a perfectly Sam list. If you knew Sam,
it is.
You would be of course he picked those.
But because he's not on the nose.
He looks like a 500 Days of Summer kind of guy.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if Annie Hall would have had any competition with Harry Met Sally too. But I don't have a problem with Harry Met Sally being number one in that. I think that makes perfect sense with the list you gave.
The list.
Plus, somehow when Harry Met Sally still has gas. It still is like moving forward. Like it's in the current zeitgeist somehow right now. Like there isn't a week that goes by where somebody doesn't bring up a scene or something from the movie. It just has cultural relevance, and it just
evergreen.
It's so evergreen. It has such. It's like Seinfeld.
The orgasm scene.
It gets brought up every day.
Tex, I was just gonna say the same thing. I'm like, come on. I mean, you have a scene like that. It's everlasting.
It's everlasting. All right. What's the next poll, Sam?
All right. So the next poll. So I took some creative liberty here. Now, Tex, it came to my attention that you at one point worked in a bagel shop. Is that correct?
It is correct.
Awesome. Banking on
that's our crack research team there, Tex.
Yeah, I like it.
All right. So makes this poll pretty obvious. Which bagel flavor is the best?
Ooh.
Wait. Let Tex. What's the best?
Let him get. Yeah.
Go ahead before we dive into the answers. Sure.
You mean my favorite or the best, like the bestseller or the? Here's my bagel
C,
analysis.
all of the above.
Okay, right. I like the everything bagel. Right, that way you don't have to pick. It's got everything.
I agree.
Yeah. But you might be in the mood for that sweet tasting cinnamon raisin bagel, and it goes good with other things. Then you might be in a different mood, and the pumpernickel bagel is a whole different,
that's
a whole different vibe
right there.
Yeah. But those were the three that, like, you have to decide which mood you're in. But if when I have my usual is the everything bagel.
Okay.
So.
Papa Bear's never seen a pumpernickel he didn't like. I don't even know that.
Except yours.
Right.
Yeah, except mine.
Exactly. I'm like, what? I don't know what's happening right now.
We allow for lies on the podcast.
Right.
That was a lie that he just told. Go ahead, Sam.
Sam.
Well, I'm happy to report because I totally agree. Everything came in number 1, 64%.
Oh,
ran
dominated.
away with it. Yeah, absolutely. Plain, number 2, 20%.
Really?
Plain win. Why would Plain get second, Sam?
My best guess for that is
all or nothing. All or nothing.
Yeah.
Kinda, yeah. Like my sister loves plain bagels.
But does she go? But does she go for it with the cream cheese? Like, does she get like strawberry cream cheese, like something pizzazzy? Okay.
Like butter on it. I mean, I'll do a plain bagel, sure. Like chive cream cheese, something like that. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I mean, I've never met a bagel I don't like, but
But
there you go.
A plain bagel allows you the opportunity to make it anything you want, like you said, to add whatever you want. So
you know what, PB? Lox and cream cheese with a plain bagel. Of course, much better with the everything bagel, in my opinion.
I was gonna say,
but yeah, you could do that. You're right. What's third and fourth? Here?
Can I guess?
Third, you can guess. Sure. This is all new. This is new to the poll segment. Go ahead.
Sesame seed.
Sesame seed was not an option. So
Oh.
you gotta guess the options.
Oh, all right. I don't know your options. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. I was just getting excited. I was having.
I know, right? He's like, bagels.
let me go get one.
We're all getting hungry right now.
I totally
Right.
get it. I had sesame on there until I Googled and did a little bit of research about what bagel flavors sold best. So, and this goes with what you said earlier. Number 3, cinnamon raisin, 11%.
Yeah.
Only 11.
It's kind of weird. I was thinking
It's
that.
a sometimey.
It's the raisins.
Sometimey. That's
the
what it
raisins.
is.
That's what it is.
I think so. I think so probably because number 4 is blueberry, 6%, which is strange to me.
Even blueberries
so,
low
hey,
too. Blueberries delicious.
Blueberry's my number 2.
Yeah,
So,
no,
look, my camera doing its thing again.
What's
Like, I do one thing. It's like
your camera just went
freaked
drone.
out.
It just
It's
went
like-
drone on you. It just went drone shot on you.
Yeah.
Good thing you've got pants on.
Exactly, PB. I was like, oh my god.
No, how do you don't see my pants? What are you talking about?
I don't
crazy.
know.
Yeah. I'm out.
We
I'm
see-
going back.
We see a lot. No, that's really interesting though. I do think that's interesting because I also worked at a bagel shop.
No way.
It's called Alpine Bagel. It was right in Green Hills, which is like a suburb of Nashville. And the thing about this bagel shop is this is where all the country music songwriters and pop songwriters would come for breakfast. And I, at the time, had a singing group. And I remember, so all my 3 of the 4 members of my singing group all worked at Alpine Bagel together. And I remember we sang yesterday, the Boys to Men version, to Natalie of the Dixie Chicks in Alpine Bagel in the morning. And we killed it. It was awesome. But the problem was she wasn't there to find talent. She was just there to get a bagel.
Plain bagel, right?
I can't remember what bagel she got, to be honest, but I do remember people would come in and they would order things that I'd never heard of. So here I am at this bagel shop. I'm working at this bagel shop. And I promise you, at 19 years old, I had never, ever heard of hummus. Ever. I didn't know what hummus was.
Wait,
don't blame me.
They're not
Don't
putting
blame
hummus on a. They're not putting hummus on a bagel, are they?
There was a bagel called a hummus among us.
Ooh. Ooh.
And people would come in and ask for it, almost a little ashamed, to be honest with you. And I just would.
Maybe it was the fun of it. That's
I
why they
worked
were
there
doing
with
it.
friends, and we could not get through one of those orders without laughing because we were just high and goofy all the time. And it was just like a guy would come in and be like, "I would like 1 hummus among us," and we'd be like, "What are you doing, bro?"
Or that's what he would sound like to you.
What? Yeah, to me. Yeah, I'd be like, what are you doing? So yeah, I know all these flavors, and I really am shocked that cinnamon raisin didn't do better. I guess it's because those raisins can dance and sing. People don't want to eat them. And then I think blueberry should have been higher. I'm really shocked that plain came through. That's the surprise of all this.
Yeah, I don't know. It was interesting for sure.
We didn't
Well,
even
Sam?
sell blueberry. Like that is such a
Oh.
not a New York bagel. Like I don't know what you
Yeah,
guys
well,
are doing
yeah.
down south, but
Yeah.
It's great.
you
My
know,
whole life I've
I'm a
had blueberry
fan.
bagels. Yeah.
Yep,
It's-
I'm a
it's
But I
my
will
mom's
tell you that-
favorite.
I will tell you this, Sam. We go to New York, and God, I can't remember the name of the place. Give me the famous place, Tex, that bagel place in New York. They have a few different spots.
I got one. Essa bagel. Every
yeah,
time
Essa,
I go.
Essa bagel.
Every time I go.
Yeah,
it's-
the bagels
it's
up
a
there are
thing.
just—they're different. They're not like down
Insane.
here, like where I'm at. They don't even hold a candle. They
Yeah.
not even close to these New York bagels. So
That's why you
shout
got
out to New York bagels.
That's why you got to
It's
stick
like the-
blueberries in them.
Yeah.
You should give it
Well,
a
I'll
go.
say it was
It's
my
worth a shot.
favorite. Blueberry was my favorite until I was introduced to the everything.
Everything is
So,
where it's at.
yeah.
Well, Sam, you did it again. Thank you very much for your audience polls. And now, Nick, can we take a break to pay some bills?
I think we should pay
Let's
some bills.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. And this episode is brought to you by the feature film Midas Man. What is Midas Man? Midas Man is the first, final, and most respectful cinematic portrait of Brian Epstein. Based on an original story, Midas Man explores the life of a man who struggles to find his place in the world. Brian Epstein is celebrated today as the visionary who signed the Beatles and creating the blueprint for modern artist management. Throughout the film, Midas Man traces Brian's life from his formative years to his meteoric success and the ensuing chaos as he managed some of the biggest acts in the world. The film delves into his close relationships with family and friends and his lifelong search for love, set against an extraordinary period of cultural change. It reveals the untold story of one of history's most remarkable outsiders. Though managing the Beatles was perhaps his most viable role, it was only a part of the 1,000 lives Brian Epstein lived in just a few short years. And without further ado, I'd like to show you guys a trailer of Midas Man, which you can watch on the Olyn Network. That's OLYN. So you get there, OLYN.com. You can also find it some other places as well. But be sure to support Midas Man, support indie filmmaking, support filmmaking in general. Promise you won't be let down by it. So enjoy this trailer.
The Cavern Club, Liverpool. The moment my life changes forever and everything suddenly becomes so clear.
May I come in?
Oh, if you do, one of us will have to come out.
Time to shine. Those boys will be bigger than Elvis.
How was that, Mr. Martin?
I think there's some promise.
Some promise.
And we're back to the show.
That we are.
Papa Bear, you know what time
Yes.
it is. You know what time it is. It's time for your torture segment that you do. The torture segment you do every week. And
It's painfully fun.
I've prepared myself. Nick, I hope you've prepared yourself. Sam as well. Tex has no idea what's coming. But the three of us, I think we kind of understand that we're about to be hammered with some
That's
humble
not
pie
me.
intellectually. So, Papa Bear, why don't you drop us a thing we should know?
Things we should know.
Mm-hmm.
No, really, this will be easy, and
You keep saying that.
especially easy for Tex.
He's
or
put some
even-
pressure on you. You see what he's doing, right, Tex? Like he's
No, I mean, especially even if his buddy Bruce Valanche was here,
Mm-hmm.
this would be a no-brainer.
Got it. Okay.
It's
Look at
not
that. He threw a hint,
yeah.
bro. He threw
a
a hint.
brain game.
I'm writing the hint down right now. Bruce Valanche.
So Tex, you do a podcast about the Oscars. So my thing we should know is, and you're a screenwriter, who has the most Oscar nominations and most wins for Best Original Screenplay?
Noms and wins? It's the same person, or is these two different
Same
people?
person And if you know, how many of each?
Oh man, a 3-parter. Okay, most nominations,
Without
most
Googling.
wins,
Oh.
without Googling. And I was Tex trying to cheat early here.
I think he already knows. No, I think he already knows. He's just going to.
I don't know.
And what number of, Papa Bear called a guest cheating before. It was pretty interesting. Tex isn't going to cheat. He knows this answer, I'm sure. But
you keep saying
but it's always
Nick.
But what's funny,
Nick's
got his head, he's searching. What's funny is when somebody, it's funny when one of us cheats and Papa Bear knows it, but we have to pretend like we don't know they're cheating.
Yeah,
it gets awkward.
I have no clue.
Also, what's funny is when the guest is trying to keep us from knowing they're cheating. Papa Bear, you know what I'm talking about. It's kind of it's like all the machinations they go through to hide their hands. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But Tex, I don't know if you want to guess first here.
No.
Like,
I know it's not me. I know the answer's not me.
Process of elimination, yeah.
Okay. Let's think about people who were just screenwriters.
Man, I have no clue what the answer is to this, and
basically the answer, Nick, is not. And Papa Bear, this is someone who is not writing intellectual property. You're saying this is original.
Yeah, not an adapted screenplay. Most wins for best original screenplay.
That's a big hint, I think.
I mean,
that's a big hint. We should know this.
Can I ask a question?
Sam probably knows it. He's our film savant.
You are a film savant, Sam. Give us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You say it every time, but thank you, Chris. I appreciate it.
Yep. Anytime.
Well, people will start to believe it if you say it more.
I learned that from George Bush.
I learned it from Donald Trump.
These guys.
So I was wondering.
Pick your poison.
When was the last Oscar this person won?
That's a hint.
Yeah,
you're allowed to get hints.
You're trying to get a hint out of me.
I'm just curious.
Right. That's a good hint.
I know before that happens, I'm going Woody Allen. He had 7 nominations and 5 wins.
What a good guess. I'm writing that down, Nick. Nick is going with Woody Allen.
That would have been my guess too. I didn't have the numbers or anything for sure. But I don't know how many. I don't know how many he's won. It feels like he's only won a couple.
Like 2 or 3. That's what I'm saying. I just can't.
Maybe.
And maybe I'm way high on this. Like maybe the number is 3. Like maybe it's 7 and 3. Like I don't know how many.
And I'm thinking of guys like Billy Wilder. I'm thinking of Mankiewicz, but I don't know if those were adapted or not. So yeah, I don't know.
Okay, Sam, what were you going to say?
Well, he wants the hint.
Oh, he wants the hint. Yeah. Okay, I'm writing Woody Allen for Texas.
Okay, well, look, PB's not giving it to him. All right, how about this?
I'll give it to him.
Yeah, what is
2011?
20? Oh my God!
Yeah, that looks like
it was good to ask. Like,
Okay, Sam, do you got something?
Well, that sounds like Midnight in Paris.
He still doesn't.
No.
Oh yeah, that's right. So wait, one more.
What'd you say, Tex?
One more.
I said, wasn't Midnight in Paris around then? 2011?
Ooh, gosh.
So
maybe.
After.
That they can look up.
Maybe.
I think it was 14,
just give us well, he's going to give us the
Well, I'm going to guess, just to be different from Tex and Nick, I'm going to guess Charlie Kaufman.
No way.
Yeah, probably not.
He's just too weird.
Yeah. Too weird.
I'm curious what the number is. Like I went 7 and 5, but like maybe it's more like 7 and 3 or 5 and 3. Like how many times can you win that? Over time.
How many films did Spielberg write and direct?
Not many.
Yeah, not many. Not many.
Also, I don't know what he would have made in 2011. 2011. It would have been like The Adventures of Tintin.
He's made a lot of stuff. He makes stuff we don't realize.
I like that it's somebody more recent, though. I like that it's somebody.
Okay, it is recent.
So that rules out Billy Wilder and Mankiewicz. Okay, so 2011.
I thought Scorsese, but I'm pretty sure Scorsese. I don't think he has an Oscar either.
He
doesn't write though.
It's a terrible guess.
Yeah.
He doesn't
Savant.
write.
I think we just need the answer. I think we're ready for the answer. Like,
we
just
got?
drop it on us, PB. Like,
All right. Well,
Darren
we have
Aronofsky.
we have winners today. And
That was
the
a terrible guess, but I
nominations,
love
the
Aronofsky.
number of nominations is 16. It
Jesus.
was Woody
was
Allen.
Woody Allen? Hey,
Oh!
16 nominations, 3 wins. Do you know the,
see, I was that's
you
what I
know what
went.
the
That was
3
my
films
second
are?
guess. No,
Annie Hall.
What are they?
Annie Hall, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Hannah and her sisters?
Hannah and her sisters. Yeah.
And Midnight in Paris.
That's a really good
And
guess.
Midnight
Tex.
in Paris. Exactly.
Midnight in Paris.
Oh.
All right.
Yeah,
Good job.
Wow. So Midnight in Paris was 2011, Sam.
I thought
Yep.
it was later.
Yep.
I guess
I think
Yeah.
Tex
Yeah.
basically got it right. I think Tex
Yeah.
he knew the
Yeah.
movies.
he swept
Yep.
it.
He knew the director. Good job, Nick, as well. That actually is a thing we should know, and it's a fun, easy one because unlike some of our other things we should know, everyone knows who Woody Allen is. Like, you're not mentioning something obscure that somebody's going to have to remember after they've had 7 cocktails. At this cocktail party, they're going to remember, oh yeah, that little quip about Woody Allen. You know, he's been nominated 16 times.
Yeah,
And,
but I think it's also
he's
cool
won
that
3
the
times,
top
you know.
the top is 3. Like that. I remember I was going back and forth between the 5. And when I said 5, I was like, I don't know if anyone's that prolific.
Yeah.
3 is the number that I was thinking about, but that is really cool that, like, that's it. Like, one of the best, 16 nominations, but even at the best, could only get it 3 times. And the thing is that, so here's my question, PB, and you may or may not know it, but is this over the course of 16 different Oscar years, or did he have multiple
in one year?
It's
all for the same category.
Well, it's the same category. So
but
it's
you could
over
have 2
multiple
movies,
years.
right?
No, he wouldn't have 2 movies.
I don't
Yeah,
know,
but
so,
that's what I'm saying. This is 16 years.
Yeah.
How
16
prolific
different
are
years.
you?
Woody
Right?
Allen's
I
crazy.
mean, he's been making a movie a year for like 35 years or more, maybe.
That's-
so
That's
How do you do that, Tex? How do you, is that just a wonderful, first you make some movies, you win an award, you have a wonderful banking relationship?
yeah, I mean, he became, look, he was a stand-up. He wrote for all these famous people and stuff, and then he would make his movies, and they were small enough, and the actors all want to be in them. And,
Huge advantage.
Look, he's run into, obviously he's not, he's not, people aren't thrilled with Woody Allen these days, but he gets to still make movies overseas and whatnot. And he's still making great stuff. You never know, like, whether his movie's going to be, awesome or not. And, he just, he's always writing. I mean, that's the thing, he's always writing, always looking for the next thing. And he has people that will pay for it because he's a known quantity. So.
There you
And
go.
Tex, you were going in the right direction as well with Billy Wilder. He also has 3, but 2 of them, only 2 of them are original, and 1 is an adapted.
Gotcha.
What were the ones? Do you know, PB, for Billy Wilder? Or Tex, do you know?
Let's see.
Yep.
Let's see.
It's
the apartment.
Wait.
The
Wait,
Apartment,
Tex is going to give it to us. What?
right? The Apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Double Indemnity.
The Lost Weekend. He shared that
right.
one with Charles Brackett,
Yep. Last weekend, right?
and then he had Sunset Boulevard,
Ah,
and you're right, the Apartment.
Yep. All right.
man, we've got some weekend viewing to do, I think.
Yeah, and we got a thing we should know.
You did it again, PB. Thank you very, very much.
That was great.
Fantastic things we should know. And that ushers us in to one Nicholas Bugs. Nick, can you drop some Filmmaker Q&A on Tex real quick? He's been salivating for these juicy, meaty questions you have prepared.
These juicy bits.
Yeah, these
right.
juicy
So
bits.
right. So we're gonna have some fun questions, some things that I think that our audience would really want to know,
Sure.
And us too. So Just Friends came out in 2005, right?
Yes.
How would you describe Hollywood then, and how would you describe Hollywood now?
Well, back then you could sell pitches. Back then you could go to a lot of different studios. You had a lot of different options for selling. There were executives all over the place. Around the time of the writer's strike in 2008, there was a lot of contraction. Like, it went from like 22 places where you could sell something to like 8. And going into the strike, I had like 3 projects going. Coming out of the strike, all 3 were gone. One was a studio was goodbye. One was an executive was goodbye. And then the other one, they just, they lost their appetite to make the movie. They had to, shorten their bench of what they would actually get made. So yeah, all 3 things went goodbye. During the strike, I did write a script on my own and tried to sell it coming out of the strike. And we went around with it, and it came close at 1 or 2 places, but didn't sell. And then I was able to actually reformulate it as a TV show idea. So I pitched it to some, to CBS, and they bought it as a TV show. So I got to at least I got paid to write the pilot. Didn't go any further than that, but at least I got something out of it. But yeah, in 2005, I mean, look, I sold Just Friends in 1999, I think it was. And there was like 4 to 5 years of development. We even had another director. There was a first director who came on and then tried to come up with he tried to change the script too much, and the studio went crazy. And I got paid a lot of money. I got paid a lot of money to change it back, which was crazy because it was the early days of writing programs. So I had it saved on another draft. And they were like, oh, you got to change it back. I sat there and did nothing for 2 weeks. So they thought I was working. And then after 2 weeks, I turned the script in. I was like, I think I was able to figure out everything and remember everything. Oh, thank God, Tex. Thank God you have the memory of an elephant. And so it was a lot more, there was a lot more places you could go and sell, and they would buy pitches. These days, they're not buying pitches unless you're like a known quantity or you have attachments and stuff. No one's buying pitches. Everything's sort of on spec for writers that don't have connections and stuff. So yeah, it was very different. And I was getting a lot of rewrites consideration. People, especially after my movie came out. You mentioned Hitch before. I actually did like a joke pass on Hitch. I don't know. I can't remember if like any jokes. So cool. It had a different title at the time. I didn't even realize. I didn't even make the connection. And then I was like, wait, I think that's it was like white people. Like it was like different. And very very different. But guy writes a book and blah blah blah. So yeah, that's the main thing. It's just how much more opportunities you had as a writer to get rewrites, to get sell pitches and stuff like that.
Gotcha. That's great. And that's awesome insight. And it kind of, it's a little, makes things seem a little dire though, right? It's like, yeah, we had all this opportunity. It's less now. So I'm actually going to skip to one of my other questions.
Feels like all industry is shrinking, Nick.
Yeah, but there's still opportunity, right? So what are the 3 most important things every screenwriter should have?
Okay, let's see. 3.
Yep.
Okay, 1 is you need to have thick skin. You're going to hear no a lot. You're going to have people shit on your work. You're going to have people tell you that things don't work. They're going to tell you that I don't know if this is good. I don't know if this is funny. I don't know if this, So you have to grow a total thick skin so that you can take that and keep going. Sometimes they're going to be right. Sometimes they're going to be wrong. But you can't let that crush you. You can't let hearing no or having people pass on your work crush you. You have to figure out how to turn that into, motivation to look, a lot of writing is rewriting. So, and which I guess would be number 2. You're going to have to rewrite a lot, whether it's your stuff or somebody else's stuff or whatever. Rewriting, learn how to rewrite, learn how to apply your voice to like other work if that's what it is, or rewrite your own stuff. Don't be satisfied and say, oh, it's done, it can't possibly be any better. No, maybe it can. And so I did countless rewrites on Just Friends, and to my first point, we went out with I wrote a teen sex comedy that we went out with. I thought for sure we were going to sell it, and it was my bad journalism. I wound up on spring break with my parents. I had just graduated college. And suddenly I'm in Cancun with my parents at their timeshare. And I realized, oh my God, it's spring break. And there's just kids running around all over the place. And I was like, oh, me. So I grabbed a notebook. I just started writing down everything, which maybe that'll be number 3. If you're a writer, you got to write. Like everything, any ideas, anything that comes into your head or comes into your world, write it down. You never know what's going to turn into to gold or not. But I wrote this teen sex comedy based on that experience. Very funny, I thought. We went out to the town with it. Everybody passed. couldn't believe it. Like we were just shocked. Every single place passed. So I was like, oh man, I'm really bummed. But I was like, okay, when else have I felt like shit like this? Oh, I know. When I was in the friend zone for 2 years with that girl in college. So I start writing Just Friends. Just as I'm finishing Just Friends, I get a call. Hey, you're not going to believe this, but Harvey Weinstein was on a plane and he heard people laughing. And he's like, what's everybody laughing about? And they were like, oh, we're reading this teen sex comedy. And he grabbed it out of somebody's hands. He started reading it. He starts laughing. The plane lands. He goes, get me this guy. I want to buy this script. And so next thing I know,
Wow.
I sold the script to Miramax. And then shortly after, Just Friends was done, and I sold that to New Line. So within like a month, I had a boom, like 2 sales. And that's what really started my whole thing. But again, I started writing Just Friends because I was depressed about the other thing, but I just channeled it into creative, into something creative. And look, you know what? Here's the thing. Before anything started for me, okay, I graduated film school. I was working on my student film. I'm working in a bagel store, selling lots of everything bagels and sesame, and cinnamon raisin. And the thing is, every night I'd go home and write. And I finished one script, and then I just started another one. And I wrote another script, and I wrote another one. And in the 2 or 3 years or whatever, I had finished 4 scripts. By that point, my student film was done. And some people really liked it. They brought it out to LA, started showing it to people. I get a call from a manager, and he's like, hey, I love your student film. Can't do anything with that. But what else do you have? And I say, I've written 4 scripts. And he's like, great, send me the 2 that you think are the best. So I send him my best 2, and he says, hey, these are funny as shit. You've got a great voice. I like it. Let's work on one of them to try to use that as your calling card, and we'll get you an agent, and we'll see what we can do for you. But great job. And I'm thinking, man, thank God I wrote those 4 scripts. If the conversation was like, oh, I'm thinking about this one idea, and I work in a bagel store, maybe something about the bagel, the conversation's over. It's done. But because I wrote, if you're going to be a writer, you got to write. So that's probably the number one of the 3 things. I put it third. But if you're a writer, then you got to write. That means sitting down nightly and writing stuff down. And whether it's
that depth. That depth is really cool. I think you mentioned that before. It's just that idea of they called you about the one thing, but it's because you had all this other stuff. Because I think people do tend to try to hang their hat on that one thing that they've been working on. Because Chris and I have heard this, I don't know, countless times, where it's like, yeah, I've been working on this thing for 5 years, and this is what I'm focused on. It's like, yeah, well, what else are you doing? Yep. No, man, I'm just putting everything I have into this one. It's like, well, if that one doesn't hit, then what? Yeah. Right. What were the 5 years for? Right. Like you gotta have defense in depth, as some might say. So you're spot on with that.
Thanks.
All right, let's do another one here. So depth is one thing, breadth is another. Mm-hmm. Why is versatility so important for screenwriters?
Man, that is my favorite word. Being versatile, and the other word I use a lot is being able to pivot. If you can do both of those things, then you can really, hopefully forge a career as, if you want to be a writer, being able to write lots of different things is very important. These days, I'm writing podcasts, I'm writing screenplays, I've written TV, I've written fictional TV, I've written the, nonfiction TV, which, unscripted, as they call it. Yeah, you do a lot of scripting when you write unscripted, right. Which is hilarious. What a misnamed category. But the point is being able to do that. I write promos. I've written video games. It's like being able to just do a lot of different things will make you more invaluable and make you, someone that they'll call. Like, hey, look, I wrote a video game. I actually have it on my shelf. It was called SS. You guys love video games. What is it? SSX Tricky. It was a snowboard game. You ever play that?
Okay. Yeah, I was about to say, you said SSX, and I was like, okay, those are the right combination of letters.
I probably haven't. I'll go look it up.
It's not easy to say. I just realized. But the point is, SSX Tricky. And, I was working with these producers, and we were kind of stalled on this project. This one executive at Fox was just dragging her feet. I could never get like a read on whether or not she liked it or not. And they said, we feel bad for you. We know some people at EA Sports, they have this video game. Would you want to try to, write for that. Next thing you know, I'm writing characters for this snowboard game, and it's funny quips and stuff. They had the actor David Arquette from the original Scream movies.
Oh, nice.
He did the voices and stuff, and like that was a tough writing job, because it's like, okay, you got to come up with 30 things that he will say if he crashes into a tree, 30 things he'll say if he lands a trick, 30 things he says to his enemy, 30 things he says to his friend or whatever. So, you know, it's like the first 10, okay, that's easy. Then it's like, oh God, then you struggle through 5 more. And then it's like, oh my God, then you light up and you smoke a little, and you're like, all right, now I got 5 really weird ones that don't make any sense. Whatever, but you know, I slogged my way through it. But it was great. It was a great experience. They you know, they paid me well, and it's just like the more you can do, and you know, the other part of it, like I said, pivot. You know, something's not working. You know, I was doing screenwriting. We hit the strike. It got harder. The business contracted. I wasn't finding as much success as I was. You know, the rewrites dried up and all that. Okay, so I pivoted to TV. I sold something to CBS, did fictional. I sold a bunch of shit to Comedy Central, you know, fictional stuff. But then that didn't really pan out because they didn't get made. You know, okay, then I pivoted again to nonfiction, you know, or unscripted. Worked on Brain Games with my buddy, and you know, got the Emmy nomination. Oh, okay, now I'm doing a different thing. You know, worked on that kids show, and now suddenly I'm writing stuff for kids. Like, you know, think like an 8-year-old. But again, it's like, being funny was always my thing. Telling a good story was always my thing. So all these things, there's a through line, even with the podcasting and stuff, just storytelling, bringing humor, especially to things that you don't ordinarily think is funny. That became my superpower. So that's how I've been able to just not be working in a bagel store, you know?
That's awesome. Yep.
Great
so we
story.
got defense and depth. We got versatility. We got the, you know, the ability to pivot. So we've got all those things. We've got the ability to rewrite. What else did we get? Thick skin. So you're going through all that stuff, and you're a screenwriter, and the goal is
be observant.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Then the goal is to sell. So in this environment, how do you sell a screenplay?
Well, the one thing okay, so while it's gotten harder to sell things, it's a lot easier and less expensive to actually make things yourself. So
okay.
For young people, you know, look, even now with podcasting, I do these entertainment type of podcasts because they're cheap and easy to put out there. And so we own it. So it's like, great. I write my kids, you know, Who Smarted podcast. No one's giving me notes. There's no studio. There's no executives. There's no network. I'm the final word. So it's like, that's been liberating. Look, I'm still writing scripts. Look, you got to get some kind of representation if you can. Managers are probably easier to get than an agent. If you can get a manager to read your stuff, if they see a voice and they see somebody who's worth cultivating, that's good. Get in with them. They could hopefully get you an agent. That's to sell to the studios and stuff, but it's harder than ever. So look, if you've got something great, you know what? There's fundraising. There's all kinds of ways to, you don't need as much money. Get yourself a camera, and try to do some stuff on your own. Even if you shoot a trailer for your thing, like something that, that you can start on your own as opposed to having to wait for everybody else. I mean, I always say the great thing about writing is no one can stop you from doing it. You know, a director, all these other, jobs, you need a movie to work. Like a writer, you can go home anytime you want. All you need is a laptop or a pad or anything, and you can write. So no one can stop you from actually writing. But then, like, when it comes to like selling or making money, like that, then it gets a little daunting. But again, you have more access to more things to do it yourself. So I highly suggest people do that. I have a horror movie right now. I'm trying to see if I can just raise some money and do it myself.
Well, great example of that is Curry Baker, I think is his name, did Milk and Cereal, and he shot that for $800. It's on YouTube. It's been viewed 1.5 million times. Everybody loves it. I watched it. I'd watched the first, I think, 20 minutes a long time ago, and then I finally watched the entire thing this week. It's great. It's great. It's $800. It shows that it looks like it was made. It looks like it needed a budget. Had the movie had a budget, I think it might have been one of the biggest horror films of all time. Like it really, you said it earlier in the show, the story. So even though it had sort of this lo-fi, it was a found footage horror film, which, by the way, sometimes the decisions, right, you make the right decision on genre. If you got $800, don't try to make a Marvel movie, right? He picked found footage. It's perfect. It's a perfect genre for that kind of budget. And then he wrote a really, really clever script, and then he started it himself, and he can act. He really came off as a good guy and a bad guy, which is what he needed to be in the story. Go to YouTube. I'll put it in the show notes. Go watch the movie. We've had it in our newsletter a few months ago, but go watch the independent film made for $800 called Milk and Cereal.
Nice.
Yep.
I will say
it's exactly what Tex is talking about.
To your point, if you know you're going to do it yourself, write something small that you can do. The other thing I always say to people is pick a genre, pick an emotion, right? Because if you don't have a lot of money, right, you're not going to be able to do some big epic thing. You're not going to be able to take people on some crazy journey and stuff. So pick an emotion and then hit the shit out of it. Like if it's going to be laughter, make something that's just balls to the wall, hilarious. Like Kevin Smith did with Clerks all those years ago. Just make something funny, or really sad and everybody's crying that sees it and is like, oh my God, I got to show this to somebody. Or, really scary, just pick one of those core emotions and hit that. Like if you try to do something that's kind of in the middle, it doesn't go anywhere. It's just sort of like milquetoast. It does, it just sits there. But if you hit one of those core emotions and you get everybody reacting, that's how your movie, succeeds, especially on a small budget.
I like that. I don't know that we've ever heard that. I love that idea. Yeah. Pick an emotion and double down. That's great. I mean, it's great for writing, especially something short. You start there and then make it bigger out of that. But that's awesome. All right, Chris, I've got one last question. I was going to stop at my 4 that I asked. They were so good, especially as Q&A and getting this audience educated, as we like to do.
Educated, yep.
Educated. But I got one last one that I just got to ask it, Tex. I'm sorry. I'll apologize in advance.
All right, missionary.
You ready, Tex?
Okay.
All right. So let's say you're locked in a hotel room for 1 hour.
I like where this is going.
With whom would you like to be locked in said hotel room? Would it be Pharrell Williams or Harvey Weinstein?
Oh my God.
Does anybody not pick Harvey?
See?
I mean, can you get my script name?
See?
No.
Hey, tell it like it is, Tex. Tell it like it is.
Yeah.
No, tell it like it is, Tex.
How many people know we're in there?
See?
Yeah.
You're right. I tell you, it's interesting because, Tex, you've lived an interesting life. We talk about all the different projects that you've been involved in. And but it's also interesting to hear the different types of people that you've been around, right? And the types of people that can, to your point, can greenlight your project.
Yeah,
I think that's the truth of it. It's like people want to say, "Oh man, what are you talking about?" Especially you want to be a little, 2025. You're like Pharrell Williams, of course. Yeah, you might say that now. A couple years back, you would have been like Harvey Weinstein, bro. Well, look, forget what they say. If you can get this movie greenlit. So anyway,
tell it's easy to have an opinion when the balance of your dreams is not on the line.
Right.
It's funny. Here's a funny story. I wrote this low budget movie, because I felt like I sold Just Friends. I was getting hired for a lot of rewrites on PG-13, but I felt like I had lost my R-rated edge. So I wrote a movie called The Garden of Eden, and it's it actually starts in a bagel store and based on some stuff that happened there that got all crazy. It's a very dark comedy, and my agent was like, I don't know if the studios are going to get this. Some producers might get it, but I think actors who have their own production company might love this. And one of the people he got it to was Leonardo DiCaprio. And I suddenly getting calls like from his managers who are like, we love it. We gave it to him. Leo's going to read it on this day. And then I get another call like, okay, today's the day. He's going to read it like at noon. And I'm like, oh my God. And then they call me, okay, he's about 20 pages in. He seems to really like it. He hasn't stopped at page 10. He's still going. Okay. Then he's halfway through. He's still enjoying it. Like, and I'm just like, it's kind of freaking out, but also like, what the f-? But, then it's like, I know the ending is really good. It's twisty. And they're like, oh, he loves the ending. He wants to meet with you. And I was like, oh man, this is awesome. Okay, he's going to be in New York at this hotel on this day. Come to the hotel on that day. And it was like a summer day. And I'm not a small guy, so I like to wear shorts in the summer. So I show up at this like fancy hotel, and he's in the cocktail lounge with his dad and his manager, and I could see them. And they're the place was pretty much empty except for them. And I start to walk in, and a guy stops me, and he goes, "Sorry, sir, no shorts in the cocktail lounge."
Oh, no.
And I'm like, listen, motherfucker, my whole career hinges on me getting over to that table. Please do not let 1 foot of pant stop me from getting over to that table. And, and luckily the guy was like, okay, just hurry. And I had to like run to the table and stick my legs under the
1 foot of pant.
Yeah, stick my legs under the tablecloth. And then we had a great meeting, and the movie did get made, but it's kind of on the shelf right now. It got made back in 2000, around the time of Just Friends, and it's on a shelf right now. So it was like both one of the high points of my life and career, and also one of the low points, because like people can't really see it unless you don't have a problem with Russian pirate sites.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, man, all these folks, like, and that's the thing. It's like, it's interesting. Like, would you even have those experiences now? Like you said about things contracting. Do you have those opportunities? Like, that's crazy. Like all these stories, all the people you met. That's amazing.
Yeah. Look, everything's possible. Look, I have enough of a name that like whatever, look, I'm still writing right now. I mean, I took a kind of a break from writing scripts exclusively, especially because I had a lot of other stuff going on. Now I am writing a lot, and I don't know if this is good to say, but I'm using AI as a tool to help me to write faster.
That's what it is. It's a tool.
Yeah.
So my daughter actually had to open my eyes. She's 20 and she uses it for all kinds of stuff, and she's in college and stuff. And she's like, look, you don't have it do it for you. You work with it. It works with you. And then I was like, oh, okay, let's try it. I had written a full outline. I spent a month writing an outline, detailed every scene in order, characters, all this development. And I started feeding it in piece by piece. Like, okay, what would you do with a scene like this? And it spits something out. And I'm like, okay, this mostly sucks, but you know what? I can rewrite this. I can rewrite it. I rewrite it. I put it back in. I go, what do you think? Oh, this is good. Here's a suggestion or whatever. Okay, that suggestion sucks. That one sucks. That one's not bad. Okay, I'm going to take another stab at it. And I rewrite it again, put it back in. Oh, this is great. Okay, let's move on. Next scene. And you know what? In 4 days, I did what would have taken me, probably 2 months. And you know what? I'm just, it's all coming from me. It's my writing. It's my characters. It's my story. And it's just helpful to, because especially now it's like, I'd rather rewrite than start with a blank page. So give me something and I can make it better,
So what's cool about that is like that idea that
that's exactly how I use it.
So, sometimes you don't know what you want until you know what you don't want.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. If the AI spits out something, well, that's not what I want, right? So now you start to think, okay, where I'm going is maybe slightly more in this direction or that direction, but you're spot on. And Chris said it as well. Like, it's a tool, man. And it's a tool that it's everywhere. Like, you're not going to be able to avoid it. It's going to be embedded in everything that we have. So you might as well learn how to use it and use it to make sure that it's a helpful tool, but it's still in your voice. It's like a carpenter. Right. The hammer is not going to tell him exactly how to do whatever he's doing. It's the tool that he uses. His voice is in the thing that he creates, he or she creates. So
from a tech perspective, AI is completely ubiquitous now. But from a user standpoint, we're all still getting used to the new world. We're all still getting used to this new way of doing things. And so many people that I talk to, they use AI the way that we might use a gas pump in the past, right? Oh, I'm out of gas. Let me go there and fill it up. And it's this just in time, I need an answer to this or that. So I'll ask the AI instead of asking Google. And to me, that is just scratching the surface of using it. And then also not really the intent. I don't think, I mean, there will be search engine AIs, of course. They're already there, right? It's like obvious, but the real use case is for it to be that assistant tool for you to use it. Sit down and use it without having a direct need, right? Then you'll find out how creative you can really be and imaginative you can be with your prompting, and how far it can take you faster, to Tex's point about 2 months versus 4 days, right? I totally with you. Everything it pops out to me from a creative standpoint isn't good enough to me, but something in it is like, but that's the right direction. Let me take that direction in my voice. Thank you for sparking that. And it was all based on me just sort of asking and re-asking a particular creative prompt. So Nick, one thing I'm thinking about is like with our newsletter, when I have to write different things about different articles, I'm like, okay, write this in my voice, or in the sort of bonsai brand voice, which looks like this or sounds like this. And what it gives back is so not ready, not good. But it helps me go where I wanted to go in the first place. It's kind of amazing. Tex, I just wanted to
I use it. I use it strictly for in the creative space, outlining, because it gives you a little bit of research as well, right? It's like, here's a topic I want to talk about.
Show notes.
Break that down. But take that topic and break it down into the parts that I might want to talk about.
Right.
So it's like a little bit of research. So it's like for Tex, I mean, you're thinking about, again, taking part of your life, and you're like, well, I have a daughter, right? And I want to write something about my daughter. And we had a fight the other day about this thing. And then you can put that in and say, give me 10 topics about a father and a daughter fighting about this thing. What would they fight about? So it's a way to expand your aperture regarding the things you might want to put in an embellished story. Right. So that's the type of thing where, again, it just creates this, again, it's a tool, it's a helpful thing to kind of nudge you in a different direction. And then you use your, your compass, your moral and, your creative compass to find yourself in the right direction.
My prediction is AI will make sure that there's no such thing as writer's block anymore. That's just not an excuse anymore. Anyway, Tex, I know you're about to jump in.
No. I was going to say, it's like having a writing partner, but you don't have to worry about their feelings.
There you go. Yeah. Hey, you should ask the AI sometime. You should write something and ask it, like, does this suck? Just see what happens.
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
I do. No, that's the thing. You have to be as specific and detailed as possible. Like even when you're saying like your newsletter, like if you had like 10 of your newsletters that existed, put them into the AI. These are my newsletters. This is what the benchmark of what I'm going for. Or like you're saying, like a story about my daughter.
We've never done that. We might try that. Yeah.
Really? No, you've done that.
We've never put 10 of our newsletters in and said,
well,
hey,
not
this
10, but
that's what I do.
Yeah.
That's what I do. When I wouldn't personally.
I know you're anti-AI mostly here.
I don't like AI. And I'm in school as well, so it's,
Wait, I'm the 50-year-old and you're the kid. It's supposed to be the opposite.
No, I'm not a fan. However, what I will do is when I write, I like to do like in-depth reviews through Letterboxd. And so when I do those, I will take it a lot of times and I'll put it through like a ChatGPT and I'll just say, hey, what's wrong with this? What problems? How can I make this better? Don't do it for me, but just tell me what I need to do.
Yeah, suggestion.
And exactly. And it has that database now. I have an account, so which is kind of, against what I talk about, but I do have an account and it remembers when I mess up on. It's like, okay, you did this wrong again. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'll take it. I'll do a draft. I'll come back. Now it's a 9, not an 8.5. We're moving up a little bit. Yeah.
The other thing I'd say, if you're doing something that is research, ask the AI for citations. Because
100%.
It'll make shit up. So if it asks for citations, then it has to tell you where it got it from, and then you can check.
You got to take it one more step, man. Click on it.
Yeah.
If you get the citation,
it'll literally make a fake link.
Because it will make up fake links.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
It is. Yeah. I have gone to you get the 404 error. You get the website doesn't
happened to me
exist.
a few times.
Like,
the link wasn't
even real. How you gonna
real.
quote somebody and then tell me you got the quote from this site, and then I go to the site and the site never existed.
Yeah.
So
we tried to replace PB with AI and it didn't work.
Right.
We couldn't replace them. It was
Right.
like, oh,
thought he was
the
AI.
AI
I'm
lied.
confused.
The links weren't even real. All the research was
Mankiewicz did
bullshit.
win all the writing awards.
Yeah, it
There you
turns
go.
out PB better than AI so far. Good job, PB. Well done.
Nice.
Nick, can you hit us with some bullet questions? You got some bullet?
Yeah, so that's it for the long ones, and then we're gonna go for the short ones, right?
Yeah,
this
has been awesome.
Can be kind of fun with this one. And honestly, the answers were great. The audience is gonna love it. They're gonna learn so much. But I'm gonna hit you with a couple. So let's do this here. Got to open up and get that second page.
Before we get
All
out of here, let's just hit them with some quick.
Let's do this. All right, so here we go. Ryan Reynolds or Ryan Gosling?
For what? Just in a movie?
Yes, in a movie.
I gotta say Ryan Reynolds.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. I knew we were going there.
I've got to say.
Yeah, that's right. He's contractually obligated. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
100%, huh? All right. Misery or It?
Misery.
Nice. I think it was crazy to see that Kathy Bates is doing like
Matlock.
What is it? Matlock.
I'm
like, bro, that's crazy.
I asked PB,
right.
did he watch Matlock? He's like, no.
The original,
he's no Andy Griffith.
I watched Matlock. All right. John Wayne or Clint Eastwood?
Clint Eastwood.
All day, every day. All right. Last one. Oscars or a telly? Which one would you rather win?
A telly? No. Oscar.
Yeah. All right, and I have one last question.
A telly.
It's yeah, exactly. You heard him right. A telly? He's like, what the hell? All right, I've got one last one. It's not a bullet question, but so in the movie Spring Break Lawyer.
Oh God.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I checked that out on IMDb.
Yeah. Good for you.
Okay.
Lucky.
And there's a guy named Edward James Gage in that movie, and he's cast as large black man. So I want to know how I
didn't write the credits.
Can you get me cast as like the bald black man or I'll take it, bro. Like you get me in the movie as I'll take nice black man.
nice black man.
Oh my God.
He's listed as large black man. I was like, dude, that's awesome. That's awesome.
You can't do that today, I don't think.
No, I'll do it today. Get me on a film, and I just do that. I want to be in there as nice black man. So if you can do that for me,
it can be. This could get real messed up, Nick. He's like high jumping black man.
I just love your background. You look like you're at a tattoo parlor. Like
see, so yeah, just so you know, just because people don't know this, those are Legos, bro.
Yep.
And it's not a fake background; it's real.
Yeah, no, I can tell it's real.
Yeah, he knows. Yeah, he knows.
Totally
real.
Man,
it's my Legos, man. You talk about diversity and pivoting a little bit. Yeah, man, Legos is my thing. I might even do it tonight. Just get out a plate, get some Legos, and
Piece by Piece by Pharrell Williams that brings it all together.
I've got that at home, by the way. My son has that. But, maybe actually I'll make a Ryan Reynolds. That's what I should do.
You should absolutely make it. PB, is your background an Easter egg?
Is my background an Easter egg?
Yeah. Is it?
Easter egg
means. Sorry. Is it? Does your background mean something? Where did you go?
I was letting you see the entire background.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been waiting all night for you to ask me that.
Just so why are you on mute?
I had some noise in my vicinity.
Okay. Yeah.
But I waited all night so I could say the name of this city.
Okay.
Minneapolis?
Regina.
No.
Regina, Saskatchewan, which is where Just Friends was shot.
Are you serious? No, you're not serious.
I am serious. Now, it was 2005. It was 2005 when you were there, so there are more buildings, obviously.
For those listening, Papa Bear is leaning to the right again, off camera.
You wouldn't
to
be
show Regina. He's going to show us his Regina.
You wouldn't be outside in the winter with no no jacket.
No.
Negative 55 degrees.
No, this is looking out my window. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe even trees can survive in that weather, Tex. Like,
yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts.
Yeah,
The only great thing is like you need to shoot a hockey scene on a pond. You don't have to worry. Just go out in the pond. It's frozen, solid. Yeah, we had engineers come. They're like, "Oh yeah, this thing is many feet thick. You're fine. No one's falling through." We had all the equipment out there on the pond and stuff.
I don't trust people enough, Tex. There's no way I will walk out on a frozen pond. I've seen too many movies.
Yeah,
it's like there's no way I'm walking out there. You can tell me it's feet deep.
Right.
You go. You try first, bro.
Not gonna do it.
You doing it, Nick? You walking on a frozen pond on somebody's word?
Prudent.
You wouldn't be
Not
prudent,
gonna
right?
Do it.
Good job, PB. Way to.
Would not eat that broccoli.
Sometimes our guests don't always recognize that PB. So he always has like a special background that's related to the guest, and so I just knew that had to be something. I didn't even know it was his vagina. Was vagina. But I knew it was something. And so I'm glad we got to say that. Okay.
Look, I have my Just Friends hat with my I love Regina pin on it.
Nice.
They know what they're doing. Nick, they know what they're doing. And speaking of knowing what they're doing, Tex, you definitely know what you're doing. From all the people you've worked with, from all the scripts you've written, sold, things you've gotten made, pitches to all these various companies, worked with every major studio, so many shows and so much more to come. We just can't thank you enough for being with us for this time. And to really wrap us up, we like to end every conversation with this question. Can you tell us what would it mean, or what does it mean for you to make it? What does making it mean to you? How about that?
Okay. That's a great question. I used to make a joke about writing, right? I used to say, paper has value, right? If you go to the store, you go to Staples, you can buy blank paper. And then I would say, if the value of the paper goes up when you put words on it, then you've made it as a writer. Otherwise, you're just a guy who ruins perfectly good paper. But I started to realize, that's kind of a jerky way of putting it. If you're able to sustain yourself doing something that you love doing, that to me is success. I've worked a lot of stupid jobs. I worked in the bagel store. I worked in a factory that made parts for a car wash. I've done some dumbass shit. And always writing, though, always writing at night, during the day, days off, weekends, holidays, doesn't matter, always writing. And the fact that I'm able to sustain myself by sitting at a computer and writing down my thoughts and ideas, whatever medium, whether it's TV, podcasting, you name it, being able to sustain myself and have people enjoy what I do, that to me is, the symbol of success. Being able to be creative, to look at a blank page and suddenly there's something new there. To me that's how I would define making it. Doing the thing you love and having, being able to sustain yourself.
That's it. Love it. And a lot of folks have found unique in their own sort of voice, their own way to say that sentiment, to give that thing, which is, it seems the thing we most desire is to be able to work hard enough to earn our freedom, essentially. The freedom from working at the car wash parts factory, the freedom from working at, unless you love that. So if you love that, go do that. But everybody's looking for their corner of the world that's just for them, that also you're doing it well enough that you can live your life and support yourself. So kudos, totally dig that. And we dig you, man. I knew from the very beginning, even in the pre-talk, this is just going to be thebomb.com. So I appreciate you, man. Yeah, lived up to it. It was very awesome. YouTube, don't demonetize us for me saying the B word right there. Come on, quit tripping. It's 2025. Tex, can you tell everybody where they can find you on social media, find you on the internet, see some of your work, etc., and anything you want to pitch?
Sure.
Go for it. Yeah.
Well, let's see. Pitching wise, yeah, I'd love people to check out my, if you're into creative stuff, you're into movies, obviously, check out the Oscars. What were they thinking? The podcast. You could, the website is oscars.wtf, but you can find the podcast anywhere. You can find Slaycation. Also on any podcast platform. I'm Adam Tex Davis. I'm on Blue Sky. Sometimes I get a little too political. It's crazy times.
2025 is off to a bang.
Yeah, sure is. Oof. If you're not if you're not afraid of political discourse, I'm definitely on Blue Sky, and you know what that means. And then for the most part, if you got kids 6 to 10 years old, check out Who Smarted, or my other kids podcast is called Mysteries About True Histories, which if you take the first letter of each of those words, it spells out math. So there's hidden math in every episode. So those are doing really well. And then let's see what else. I'm always writing stuff, but I don't have anything yet. But if you're looking for a good horror script, you could check me out. I'm trying to think. Where's the best place to find me? If you go to my company website, atomicentertainment.com, you can send an email and I'll get it through there.
You have so much going on. You heard them right from the horse's mouth. Go to atomicentertainment.com. You can reach out to Tex directly. You can reach out to us at www.themakeitpodcast.com. Is it right? Themakeitpodcast.com?
There you go.
Yeah, that's right. So I always forget, is it the or is it just make it?
Right.
Themakeitpodcast.com. You can reach out to us. You can also contact us via email at contact@bonsai.film, and we answer 100% of those. If you're watching this, those emails, if you're watching this on YouTube, then that's awesome. But here's what you should do. Just take a second. You should subscribe. You should like. And please do comment. We respond to 100% of these comments. And anyone that's in our sphere that you've talked to or you'll see like there's always going to be a make it response to every comment. We're super engaged with you. So you engage with us, we'll engage with you. We run contests, we run polls, we do all kinds of things every day. So definitely check out the channel. We work really, really hard on it. We're a little team that could. So you will not be let down by your subscribe, like, follow, all that good stuff. Now, if you're listening to this podcast on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, etc., check us out on YouTube. We're there. Just go to youtube.com, search for the Make It Podcast, will show up. But if you like listening in the car, that's cool too. We definitely appreciate you. We're not ignoring you whatsoever, but here's what you need to do. You need to open your podcast player, whatever it is, Apple, Spotify, whatever, rate us 5 stars. And if you have an extra 30 seconds, maybe you write a review. I just can't tell you how much it means to us if you do that. And then it is no hyperbole to say it really makes a difference. Discoverability, the audience growing, every little bit helps. So don't think that you're insignificant. You are totally, totally, totally significant. It really matters if you do that. So again, YouTube, subscribe, like, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, etc. 5 stars, write a review. Okay. That being said, we also have some cool gear for you. We have buttery soft crew neck sweaters, hoodies, hats at cottonbureau.com. Now, here's the thing about Cotton Bureau. They reject 90% of all designs, but ours is in the store. It's really simple. Just go to cottonbureau.com, search for the Make It Podcast. Our store will come right up, and you can wear your filmmaking journey right on your body, walk around proud with it every day. And I'll be real with you. I wear them on set. I'm wearing it right now on this podcast. I wear them everywhere I go. They're so comfortable. My favorite is the long sleeve tee. I wear it on set with a hat and some jeans. It's perfect set gear. So go do that. cottonbureau.com, search for the Make It Podcast. Our store will come right up. You cannot miss it. And the
hoodies are super soft.
And the hoodies are super soft. Everything's really, really great there. So shout out to Cotton Bureau and our partnership there. Nick, did I leave anything else out? I think that's it. Is that it? Do we have any other? Do we have any other
I was just
housekeeping?
Say if you're listening to us on the podcast, then I would say definitely come over to the YouTube channel so you can see 4 out of 5 gentlemen with luxurious locks and my bald-headedness. And I will we're going to have to put in the show notes. I am the bald black man. Like I'm going to be listed in the show notes as that. And everybody else just,
and put you in the transcript
over here with the luxurious locks. Every time I see Papa Bear, I get mad at myself. I'm like, how's that even a thing?
Yeah, Papa Bear.
So you look at Tex.
Papa Bear and Tex are the envy. Well, Sam too. I mean,
all of you. That's what I'm saying. All of you, luxurious locks. Man, your curls are glistening. right now. You know, you got that early 90s I'll Be Sure thing going on.
Look at that. Look at this. Look at this. Look at that.
So yeah, it's a wonderful thing.
Shout
That's
out
why
to I'll
people
Be Sure.
need to, yeah.
All you
shout
need
out.
to
That's
do
why
is
you
put
all
on
need to
some
come
weight.
here.
Yeah.
Big bald black man.
not. But PB's
Put on some
one.
LBs and you'll be
one.
big black bald man.
I'd like to think that the guy asked to be credited as that.
Somehow I don't think he did. I just, you know, and he saw it one day and he was like, he made a new website, bigblackman.wt.
.wt of what?
LBM.
Right.
LBM with the BBL.
All right. Yes.
So,
exactly.
So Nick,
wow.
with that, can you please? Oh, social media. If you want to find us on social media, all social media _ make it podcast. I already said the website.
Yeah.
Social media. You can DM us. We respond to 100% of those. Everyone that's on social media knows that we do that. We love the comments. We love the engagement. Thank you, TikTok followers, new TikTok followers doing that. Thank you, new IG followers doing that for us. We really appreciate it. But we're on all the platforms. So leave us comments. We respond to every one of them. We love the engagement. _ make it podcast on IG, TikTok, and Facebook. Okay. With that being said, Nick, can you now leave us with the credo?
Now handle up now. And of course, got to say thank you to Tex for this. This was awesome, man. We appreciate you. We thank you so much for spending the time with us. We know that a lot of podcasts out there and, you know, channels like this, they'll be 15 minutes in and out. And we like to draw this thing out to have good conversations with friends that we just haven't met yet. And we could tell that right away with you. And we just appreciate the time, the knowledge, the fun. This was great. This was a great conversation. And again, we just appreciate you for that.
My pleasure, man. I had a great time, and I just rated you guys 5 stars.
Boom. Look at that, man. He doesn't, he don't mess around. Yeah. He's a man of his words.
No, you guys are awesome. Yeah, this was a ball. So home run.
Love
awesome, dude. Yep. So with that, I'll have to say to our filmmaking friends, our fans, our followers, and our family, be better, be creative, be engaged.
And thank you for listening. Nick, Tex, talk to you soon.
Yeah, man. We'll have to do this again for sure.
Sam, Papa Bear, love you guys.
Love you too.
All right, guys.
Peace.
Take it easy.
See you guys.